Alright, so we were talking about this principle. This is what triggered it. That the oir, the shoshen mukoira, the line starts on the one hachesed. It's about 7 lines from the end of the top section. And the question that we're saying, that the Rebbe is explaining, how is it that the oiros are mislabesh in the kelim, oiros atzilus are mislabesh in the kelim bipnimius, means that the slapshus is internalized in the oiros. It really is a phenomenal transformation. Because oiros are constantly renewed from their source. That's what oir is representing the source itself, the presence and the impact of the source. How is it that the oiros get such a profound transformation that they mislabish in kelim and become like the kelim? So the Rebbe explains. The cause for that is because in the very source, the way they are in their source, as they call it ba'ir soif, hareim b'chinas sphirot. They are in the they have this bechina, this deep sense of sphirot. And what is sphirot? V'hainu, the principle that this is sphirot, 10 spheres.
Did you call it?
No, I did not call it. Thank you. I was too excited to get back. This is not on.
Good morning, we're calling in now. Yep. Right now.
Our PALTIEL. So, what is the principle of spheres? 10 spheres. What's the difference how many spheres there are? What is it? What is so significant about it? The hainu, and the principle in this is she'ein zeh ha'oyer shel b'chinas ein sof. That even though it's before the tzimtzum, this is not the oil that qualifies, that its principle is that it's ein sof. No definition, no defining elements. It's ein sof. Ki, rather, what is there? What then is this oir? That is the source of the sphirot. Masha oir in soif shir be'atzma. That oir in soif had measured and projected internal to himself lahoyir bibchinas mido gvul, to have the impact in a mido gvul manner, in a measured and in a limited manner. This is the inner von sphirot. So, pardon me. So, in order to facilitate our certain understanding of this, he said that sphirot is a whole structure of spheres, starting from the top, the very top, which is chochmah, going through the entire structure, all the way to malchus. And malchus is where it culminates, and malchus is where creation it takes place. Malchus is essentially an outside relationship. So we felt that it would behoove us to understand the principle of malchus in order to understand this whole phenomenon of sphirot. Now this is a projection that ultimately it will have an impact in a finer and limited fashion. And that is inherent in the early self. So we asked the question of this. A principle that we all kind of were able to relate to. And that is, if you have a home, and the home is a rather large home, and there are definitely areas in the home that you have never visited, or you certainly are not using it on a constant basis for your personal use. And it's sitting there on the quiet. It doesn't. You don't even refer to it. You're not even aware of its presence on a constant basis. Somebody climbs into that attic and settles down in some little corner, and he makes home there. So we asked the question, was that tolerable? And almost universally, so far, everyone said that no, it is not tolerable. So we asked the question, why not? The fact is that he's not interfering with your activities whatsoever. How does it bother you that he's sitting there? So, approaching it from a narrow perspective, as we proposed, whatever it is, that there's a selfishness in this. You're not going to take advantage of me. Of also different variations of that principle. You're not interfering with my activities, but interfering with my ego and with my balabatishkeit, or my jurisdiction. You've come into my property without my permission, or things of that nature. So we had various proposals, various explanations. It was very lively discussion. But at the very end, we remained kind of short of a clarity. What in fact is this disturbance? Is this a selfishness? Is this something usurping, declaring one's presence, one's position? What is it about? So after all this whole debate and circular argument, we think into it, we realize there is something greater than any of those points that were brought up. In effect, this is the principle of malchus. As we pointed out, that what is the principle of malchus? The melech, the spread of malchus, the spread of the melech, it's an aura. It's an oil. It's not that he's present there. His presence there is a very untangible quality. Just as we discussed many times, that when you are an invited guest at a wedding, or you are just an intruder, so to speak, but a welcome intruder. Nobody bothers you, nobody is bothered with you, nobody cares if you're there or not. Versus being a guest, an invited guest. An invited guest has a sense of having a right of being there. Whereas an uninvited guest, even though nobody cares and nobody is disturbed by it, does not have the sense of right of presence. What is so significant about this right of presence? Practically speaking, it does not have any effect. Like we said, this guy who walked in, there's food galore, there's plenty of room, nobody bothers with him, and you can enjoy yourself as much as you want. What is right of presence? Right of presence means there is no provision for you, but for the fact that you were there and you were partaking of it. Prior to that, on the higher level, on the super practical level, if we could focus in and define it this way, the fact that there is a facility, not the fact that you're a human being and we are going to have respect for you. The fact that there is a facility, that has nothing to do with you at all. Only because you're in need, only because you're a human being and you're going to be respected, whatever it is, you need food, or some kind of a practical ingredient. This is what brings you in there. But the phenomenon that there is a reality, you have no shaykhs to it. Now, who gives the human being this sense, this phenomenon? How does he have, in fact, if in fact he does not need this area, he's not going to use it. What gives him, so to speak, the fundamental right of being there? Not because of any ingredients, any need, any usage of any kind of recognition of who he is. This is in fact his creator, the creator of the world. This is not his area. This is something belongs to the creator of the world. I mean, I'm going out a little bit in a higher stratosphere, but in terms of this is something which belongs to a higher reality than his personal experience. This higher reality, although practically speaking, we cannot identify its use and its need, it is of phenomenal importance in general to the person, whether in practical sense or non-practical sense, is of phenomenal importance. Like we said, at a wedding, the being an invited guest and not invited is a fundamental difference. Although practically speaking, there may not be an obvious difference. This, so I said, this phenomenal importance is stating, just like was said by a melech, that his presence is there even when in his absence. Even a place that is completely outside of his personal involvement. Where he is not, he is also there. This is a kind of a statement of the reality of his presence. This sense of a sense of a reality is something which is with the human being all the time. It is experienced all the time. For instance, as you're walking on the sidewalk. Imagine the sidewalk were a tightrope, enough to put your foot down. It was not an inch beyond that. You'd feel very uncomfortable. Although you have enough room to put your foot down. There is nothing there to receive you. You exist only where you exist. For every step of the way, you have to fight for that. You have to make a declaration of that step. There's not a broader reception, yes, of course, you're welcome here. This is the malchus element in every human being. This is why we say malchus is where he extends beyond his own presence, his own existence, beyond his own experience, his own need. This is where he affects, his presence has an effect outside of his presence. Since it's outside of his presence, it does not possess any of the richness of his personality. There's no chochmah, no bina, no midas, nothing. Just a presence. Like we have in this illustration. He's walking with his feet. He could walk straight. But the fact that every step has a few inches around it gives you a completely different sense of comfort, a sense of presence. This is the principle when we say that the Aliyah Zorotzin brought out sphirot. What is significant about sphirot? Before that there were spheres without number. Sphirot has a particular statement that now this is focused and concentrated to the point of being effective outside of this reality, to create something, to reveal an order, reveal a certain reality that is not because I'm here, like by your personal need, but a certain a different reality. This is the creation. This element is present. In other words, the fact that it can be affected even in middle group, even in Kalim, outside of his personal status, this is present in the source in the Sefer itself. This is what we say, that the slapshus in Kalim, where Kalim means something completely external, in a totally different realm, a different spirit than the Iyar. And yet, that his slapshus in Kalim finds its root in the deepest truth of the Iyar itself. This is why he can be mislabish in the king, mislabish b'pnimius. Okay, this is what the Rebbe is explaining. This is why there is a substance, the Kalim Ipnimus. Okay. Okay, let's continue weiter. And we are, and the line begins B'Atzmoi. This is 5 lines from the end. V'hagam d'kmei shehem kluim b'Yisrael. Yes, what? Yes.
The malchus was explained that it's even where he is not, his reality is there. Now we're saying that Islapsus, Oilus B'Kailam, is also through malchus, but the Oilus in Kailam, if Islapsus means that the oil is actually mamish there. It's not only that it's about him.
It is the malchus element that allows for it. Because Kelim do not fully understand what the oil is, and yet he's mislabish in it. Because there is this sense that even outside of the oil is also his domain. It also belongs to him. How it was provided by that which provides the whole mitzvah, the whole presence. All right, again, 4 lines from the end of that section. V'hagam the k'mayishem kulim b'nei baruch. Although that in the state as the sphirot are called in oirin soy baruch hareihem b'chinas pshitus l'gamri, they are in a pshitus manner, l'gamri totally. And we explained what is b'chinas pshitus mean. B'chinas pshitus means that they are there not because they are there, but because there is a surface there. A higher reality is there. She'einon b'chinas metzius nikeres, which means that the sphirot do not have a cognizable presence. It's a broader so to speak, welcoming support. This is the pshat also. It says, "Ei melech b'loi am." So Chassidus explains what is am. It's an interesting thing. Am means that the nation, the people, are way below from the status of the melech. So it explained that even a melech had multiple sorim, ministers, men of tremendous wisdom, who understood what the melech is. Appreciate the melech's greatness. He would not be a melech. That would not make him a melech. Only if he has an am, a nation on the simplest level of presence, there he can be a melech. Why is that? Because sorim, ministers who appreciate the melech's status, this is still part of himself. This is the effect of his presence. Malchus is that which is outside of his presence. Where do you see that he is present even where he is not? That you see in the Am. Where they stand there in total obedience without even understanding why. This is what you said, we explained before, the periphery and so forth. The sphirot, as they are part and included and in the source, in they're bephinas pshitos. What means bephinas pshitos? As we said, pshitos means that this is representing only the richness of the Ein Sof, rather than the middle gvula, than the presence of the sphirot itself. There is no cognizable and identifiable presence. The okay. Bebchinas sphirot. Yeah, there's something missing over here. There's harehim. Still, they have the bechina. They have the element of sphirot. And what does sphirot mean? Sphirot means this is not the presentation of the Ein Sof. Sphirot means that there is a focus of identifying a present, identifying a world. B'kash nimshechu al tzimtzum, and then when they are finally drawn through the tzimtzum, the b'chinas sphirot protis, they come through as b'chinas protis, as individual spheres, not a complete structure of 10 spheres, but each individual sphere by itself. See the proteus. Then they are in the same Matthias Nikeras on identifiable presence. Each sphere assumes its own place, its own definition. Chochmah is chochmah, and chesed is chesed. Whereas prior to that, tzimtzum is just a general projection towards development. Even though that they are b'chinas blima, blima means they still do not have a tangible presence. All this was discussed previously. Like a kav, like a line, that is formed from a conglomeration of many points in a certain order. That's a kav. Therefore, that makes it possible for the spheres to be mislabesh in kelim, because there is an individual identity presence of each sphere. Therefore, it could be now defined enough to be focused, formed into a kelim. Barideya is lapshus ba'kelim, and then ultimately, when that takes place, when the spheres are mislabish indicated, nasim, then they transform, they become kefi mahus hakelim. They become like the mahus, like the reality of the kelim itself. Namely, b'chinas metzius dover. Then they stand on their own definition. Metzius dover are real, tangible presence. B'chinas oir ha-chochmah, something that can be defined not oir esoy, but oir ha-chochmah, the oir of chochmah, the impact of chochmah, the oir ha-chesed, and the impact of chesed.
We already said this before they dressed up in Kalim, that they were oir ha-chochmah and oir ha-chesed.
No, the blima. She said, but blima. Inherently there is, but it's not, but it doesn't manifest itself like this. It's blima, it's without a personal presence. This we discussed in blima with great length before. This is still be pshitus. That's it. We don't have much time. We don't have any time, as a matter of fact. Let me just start this. Zehu gamkin sibas, sibas, his chalchus. This is also the cause for the subdivision, the milo mato, of higher, of top and bottom, shares versus fruits. That there is a higher level and a lower level. Okay, this is it.